Hey everybody, hope you're all doing good today. Just heading back from the Bass Open here at Lake Cherokee. Got the crew with me today. They usually get to go, the family gets to go with one tournament a year with me, so this is the one they got to go to. And heading back now, doing a little bit of work for Bridgeford on the way back, and just wanted to take some time and give you the post-tournament wrap-up of what went on during the week. But man, this tournament was like, a lot went on in this tournament. It's a long story. So started out, got over here, had 2.5 days of practice for this one, which, I prefer to have 3 or 4 days because, it really gives you a chance to expand, the possible techniques, and gives you, you can experiment with a lot more stuff. But when you got 2.5 days, you really got to narrow it down pretty quick. So I only had 2.5 days here. And in practice, we had really decent weather. We didn't have any wind in practice. We had quite a bit of clouds, and we had some sun, so we had a little bit of diversity in conditions. And I knew going into the tournament that we had a front coming in, that we were supposed to get some rain and wind, which we did. So I was sort of trying to plan my practice based upon what the weather was going to do. So that's what I really worked on. But first day of practice when I was down here, we had cloudy weather all day long, and I really mixed it up a lot. Cloudy weather, not much wind, plus a ton of boats on the lake. The lake it's just gotten hammered lately. It's a small lake anyway. It's gotten a lot of pressure from tournaments, and just for this particular tournament too. And I knew it was going to be tough. I mean, it was tough, and I think all day long, I don't know, I think I had 3 or 4 bites all day long. Caught one decent one on a crankbait, had a couple bites on top water. I just was really mixing it up with a lot of different options, trying to get a feel for what I wanted to do. And pretty disappointed though that first practice day, because we had such perfect conditions that I thought the fish should be biting better. So not to get any more bites than what I did sort of told me that it was going to be a really tough tournament. And just talking to a few of the guys down here, they were having the same problem too. Second day of practice, different conditions. We had a lot. It was calm, but we lost our clouds, and we had mainly sunny skies. And again, that second day, I just mixed it up a lot. Again, I'm still trying to get a feeling for what the fish are doing, get a feel for the water clarities in some different areas of the lake, and what areas were getting the most pressure on them. So that second day of the practice, I never had a keeper bite all day long. I caught one non-keeper fish. Super, super tough day. Just didn't get anything working at all. And the third practice day we went out, it rained we only got a half a day that third day. And we had quite a bit of rain that particular day. Sorry for the bumpy roads here. Highway 60 in Missouri. And I got 3 or 4 topwater bites with my hooks cut off, and they looked like, pretty decent fish. Perfect conditions, rain, calm weather, that type of thing. So anyway, going into the tournament, my plan after I saw practice and knowing where I was in the points, I decided to sort of go for broke, and I basically focused and committed on throwing a topwater all the entire tournament. And I knew that I probably wouldn't get a lot of bites, but they'd be the right ones if I got it. And I got enough bites in practice. I didn't get very many, but I got enough to sort of, teach me what to look for. And basically, what I'd figured out is the fish were on the steeper banks. They weren't on the flatter banks. The pockets and flats were getting covered up with boats. The back of every cove had a boat, and every point had a boat on it. So I was trying to just concentrate on just steeper banks that didn't get quite as much attention. That was my plan. So went to the registration, came back to start working on tackle, and on the way back to the room, the brakes went out of my truck. On the tournament starts the next day, Tuesday night, they went out. So it's like 7 o'clock at night. I've got no brakes on my truck. I'm parked at the top of the hill where we're staying at. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I was trying to figure out if I could get a wrecker, and I called a brake place, and they said if I could get it in there the next day, they could fix them. So I was trying to figure out how to get a wrecker to come over and get the truck, and then have Kim take the truck over, have Kim basically go over and wait with the truck and get them fixed the first day of the tournament. But fortunately, I told the guy that owned the cabins we were staying at my problem, and he was a mechanic. So he said he could fix them in his yard. So we went into AutoZone, bought all the parts that we needed, and he stayed up until 11:30 with me, fixing the brakes on my truck. Completely bailed me out. Just, got really, really fortunate on that. So anyway, the next morning we go out, and it's raining hard. As soon as we get out in the morning, it's raining, it's blowing hard, just conditions where the fish should really start biting. And I get to my primary area over there, and my primary areas, and it had been blowing so hard and raining so hard that it had muddied the banks that I was fishing. They were really clear, and then they turned into like that milky looking stain where you could still see maybe a couple foot down, but it was, you lost over half the visibility. And normally back home, you can catch them on the top water when the wind's still blowing, but what happened that I found out throughout the course of the day is those fish would not come up on the top water bait in that wind. And I stayed on it all day long. I just really tried to force it. I thought there would be a bite window of a certain time of the day. I thought it was maybe getting on the right stretch, and nothing ever happened. And I wound up I caught one that weighed 2 pounds and 6 ounces, and I had another one that I tried to weigh in, and it was short. And it's the first time, I've been doing this for 35 years. I've never weighed a short bass in my entire life. And I weighed a short bass in, and it measured on my board on one side. I told the guy up there that I said, you got to work with it on one side. And bass has a rule where they don't pinch the tail, they just sort of fan it, which most organizations will do whatever it takes to try to get it. But for whatever reason, it didn't measure. I got a 1 pound penalty after the first day. So it brings me down to 1 pound 6 ounce. And I'm in like 120th place. Not very happy, really disappointed. So second day of the tournament, we get out there, and I knew I had to make an adjustment, and I felt that I just needed to go practice. We had good conditions. The wind was blowing, but not quite as hard, and it was cloudy and overcast. So I decided to flip areas of the lake, and I just decided to totally focus on fishing, trying to find the calmest water I can. So I switched areas of the lake, started fishing those calm pockets, and I started getting bit. Right off the bat, I caught a nice one. Then I lost one. I jumped one off, about a 3 or 4 pounder. And then throughout the course of the day, I picked up one here and one there, good ones, 2.5, 3 pounders. So we had like 2 hours left to fish, and I've got 4 good ones in the well, over 11 pounds for 4, which is a big bag there. 11 pounds is actually a giant bag in that tournament. So I knew that if I just got one more bite, I'd have a 13 pound plus bag and come all the way up and, finish in the top 20 in the tournament. So right at the end of the day, I threw out there, and I'd already lost my 5th one, that 3 pounder that jumped off. And right at the end of the day, I get the bite. It's a 3 or 4 pounder. Comes up, jumps, and I'm fighting it to the boat, and I'm reeling it right to the boat, and it's coming right across the surface. It's just a couple inches under the water, and there's actually like another 3 or 4 pounder following it, and as soon as it gets by the boat, it just pulls off next to the boat. So I couldn't believe it. I had a 15, 16 pound bag hooked, ran back to weigh in, get in there, and weigh my fish, 11 pounds and something. And I jumped way up. I'm like in the top 20, but I threw out after the second flight. And then it gradually starts going down and down and down. And to make a long story short, they pay 40 places in the Bassmaster Opens. I finished 41st by 1 ounce. I had a 1 pound penalty from yesterday. So that one, if I hadn't weighed that short fish in, I'd have finished in the top 25 in the tournament. So talk about just a frustrating, miserable tournament. But moved up a little bit in Angler of the Year points. I'm in the top 20 in the points right now. I know that going into this, we got 2 tournaments left. And I sort of figure that I'm going to have to get 2 top 20s. If I get a top 20 at Louisville and a top 20 at Lay Lake, I should be knocking on the door, to qualify for the elites. But the thing that killed me in this tournament is that second day last week at Neely Henry. You can make the ground up in a lake like Cherokee, which I did, but that second day at Neely Henry, that just completely, it knocked me down from being close to being in the money down to over 100th place, and that really knocked me back in the point. So, just looking back, that's the one that stays with me. But anyway, frustrating week, missed opportunities. I felt that I was super, super close to winning that tournament. I mean, if I would have just figured that out sooner, that I just needed to run those slick banks with no wind on it and stay on that type of water, I definitely would have caught him the first day and probably got on it more in the second day. So, even though it shows that I finished 41st, I really felt that, looking back, that I was on the right pattern to win that tournament. So, but that's tournament fishing. It's easy to look back and say that after the tournaments happen. That's just how we learn from it. You just learn from your mistakes and go on to the next one. But anyway, gonna get back. Got a lot of catching up to do. We've had 2 back-to-back tournaments. Gonna be down to do a lot of filming for Fish the Moment the next couple weeks and getting ready for Lake Louisville. So got a lot coming up there. But anyway, I appreciate y'all tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And if you like the video, hit that like button. Those are big deals that really help us out here. And like I said, we'll check in later with another one. See y'all later.